All right, Jose. So nice to meet you in person, or at least virtually. I'm
Right.
really looking forward to answers for these questions and just learning from you. So I'm super excited.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you so much for the invitation. More than happy to participate on this. And, if at the end of the day, this actually works for someone else, then I think that we have accomplished something, right? There's a lot of
Exactly.
people, yeah, there's a lot of people there that are looking for ways to grow their business, or maybe they're stuck and trying to find another way of doing it. We all have different journeys. So I just happen to have found one that I think it worked, and I continue on that journey. So yeah, let me know.
I think that's fabulous. So speaking of that, like tell me what do you attribute your growth to?
Sure. So I've been in business for 20 years approximately.
Okay.
And I remember when I got started, I met this gentleman of one of the local professional organizations in Houston. And, I was a newbie, right? I didn't necessarily know what to do. And I was actually new to the city. I didn't really know Houston. So, so I talked to the guy and he told me, look, Jose, old guy looking at me right down. And hey, this is not New York. Okay. This is the South. All right. So relationships matter here.
Hmm.
And like, okay, what do you mean? Okay, well, you have to start going to networking events.
Hmm.
And do you have a business card? I'm working on it. Do you have a website? Almost done. Getting there. What else do you have to promote yourself? Well, I'm in marketing. Okay, so I think I know what I need to do, but I'm learning, because one thing is to actually work in a company and do the marketing for another firm, but once you're standing on it yourself, your own business, then it becomes almost like a question. Okay, I need to do this, and that, right?
Hmm.
So I took that advice and started participating, getting involved in different organizations to build the network. And at this point, I have read about a couple of books related to the power of networks.
Hmm.
And nowadays, I feel like, you know what? You need to understand relationships in a different way.
Hmm.
You need to know what a hub is, what a node is, and maybe a node becomes a hub, and then this hub connects you to this other group.
Hmm.
That part is what I feel has helped me a lot. And also being proactive and being a leader once you get involved in these professional organizations. Just being a volunteer is not enough. You have to gain that leadership role within the organization and become very visible. And because at the end of the day, it's all about building your personal brand, right?
Hmm.
And so I think, in a way, understanding how that works has helped me. Now, look, it took me a while to get it, all right? And you will think, oh, yeah, a couple of weeks now. Yeah, it took me a while. So a slow learner in the process. But I think I got it. And in the process of getting involved, building a network, the dots connect to each other.
Hmm.
And the more visible you become, the more likely you are going to be signaled by somebody, hey, you need to talk to this guy, or
Hmm.
you need to go to this event. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's $1,000 to get in, right?
Hmm.
Well, you know what? Let's work it out. Let's find a way. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So I think it's about that. In my personal case, others may have a different story, but in because I'm in the professional services area, I think relationships matter a lot.
I
Um,
think know, like, and trust are really important, especially in our business,
trust,
right?
trust. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
You have to be likable, and then they have to trust you.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're investing on you in a way, right? I mean, they see you, you present yourself, they trust you, and then now, okay, here's the budget, right? What can we do with this? So I mean, getting to that point is it's a matter of building that relationship, I think.
That's awesome. Okay, so I love that. Tell me then what makes your business unique, and
Okay.
why do people choose your business over others in the market?
Sure. I have a colleague, she's from Ecuador and she's practicing here in Houston. And I actually talked to her a while back, maybe about a couple of months or 3 months ago. And she made me realize one thing that we all know, but until someone else tells you, you realize, you're right. And I'm already doing that, but I didn't understood it that way back then. So she was telling me, you know what, Jose, the United States is a big market of,
Hmm.
and then you have to find a niche, right?
Mhm.
Within that big market. You can't be everything, right? And you know what? Yes, we all know that concept, but something hit me. You're absolutely right, and I had been focusing a lot on a couple of things. First, approaching the Latino market.
Okay.
Uh, that is my space in terms of the community that I
Mhm.
serve. Okay,
Mhm.
and then I guess another way of looking at this is that I focus a lot on nonprofit organizations
Okay.
and government entities. And because many times you find that they're trying to build that relationship with the Latino community,
Mhm.
which happens to be a lot in the Houston area, and but they just don't know how to do it,
Yeah.
or they don't have the know. Well, they don't have the know-how, but they don't have also the capacity
Gotcha.
to do it. So they need that extra hand that can basically grab them by the hand and tell them, look, I think this is the direction that you need to go.
Hmm.
So I think that in a way, that is what is unique about Imagina Communications. That we talk to people that are running an organization, and maybe they have this new program that they want to implement, and it happens to hit a lot of members of the Latino community,
Mhm.
and we strategize with them. We come in, we sit down, we analyze the challenge that they have, and then we decide whether we need to do some research, or maybe research is not necessary, and or maybe just listening to you and what you need is enough to craft a plan that can look over a year, and then start executing, right? And
That's
start measuring results. So that is usually the way we go about it, right? Now, I will say that another unique thing is, and this is related to what I mentioned in the beginning, is the way you approach people,
mm,
and the way you engage your clients, right? I mean, it's
yeah.
not, I am connected to your purpose. And I think that you and I are speaking the same language, because I realize that the problem that you are approaching is meaningful. And the solution that you have for that, it may or may not work, but you know what? We're going to give you our thoughts on what can work and what cannot work. And then you decide what you want to execute, right?
Mhm.
So, I so again, finding that niche in terms of industry, and finding that niche in terms of market that you want to approach. We usually don't work with oil and gas firms, to give you an idea, right?
Mm.
Because simply we were not knowledgeable enough in that area. I understand that that requires a specific set of skills to even know the language that they use.
Mm.
So how can we connect with a client that is in oil and gas if we don't necessarily speak the same language? So
I
yeah.
like that you said that every business has a unique problem they're trying to solve, and you help find the ways to solve that. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
everything in my experience, everything starts with a problem. I mean,
Yep.
if you don't have a problem to solve, then hey, you have a hobby,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So it has to be meaningful to somebody. You have to be providing a solution to
Mhm.
someone out there. So if that doesn't happen, then I don't know what you're doing.
So since you talked about coming here, and this isn't New York and it's the South 20 years ago, and you're starting this business and you consulted with this person. So tell me now, looking back, if you're going to start it over again, what's one thing you would have done differently?
Uh, Very good question. When I started the business, quite frankly, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Right. I just had that drive and I knew that I needed to do this thing that I thought many years ago, but I don't know if you go to school for something like this. Maybe there are some entrepreneur
Right.
programs out there, but I don't know if someone is really prepared for making this transition from corporate to running your own business. So in that sense, I guess one of the things that I regret not doing since the beginning is actually getting a business coach.
Oh,
Because yeah, because um, you know, if you are running your own business, it's almost like a solo game,
yes.
and you find yourself doing a lot of things by yourself, not necessarily having a support system around
Yes.
you. So building the network in the beginning was crucial, but that took time. I mean, it didn't happen right away. But having someone there that can be speaking to you and giving you guidance, hey, look, stay there, right?
Yeah.
Stay on course. This is what you need to do. Have you thought about this? Stay on track, keep that vision going. Emotions are very strong when you're beginning a new business. And there is always that thought of failing, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, maybe I'm not doing this right. Maybe
Mhm.
I need to rethink it. There is always something that you're questioning about
Yes.
yourself and about the way you're doing things. And if you don't have that someone else that you are talking to and maybe bouncing ideas, I think I think is more difficult. So nowadays, people ask me and I tell them, look, I mean, make sure that you're building a network and you're getting a coach that
Oh,
can guide you through the process because it's needed. I think it's valuable. I got engaged with a coach last year. Imagine that, almost 19 or 18 years later, right? And then okay, it finally hit me, right? A coach. All right, great. Uh, Obviously, I my business was already built when I
sure.
first talked to this person, but just listening and hearing the advice, I realized, man, if I had only meet this person uh, 15 or 12 years back, things will probably be different right now. But
Boy, you think about the trajectory of your business, especially in the formative years, and how much, a couple percent back then of being more effective and more focused on the goal. Think about
exactly,
where in 20 years. I'm glad you got somebody, in your
yeah,
corner. But yeah, it's like
yeah,
man, a couple percent every year, all of a sudden you're in a way different path. So that's
yeah,
brilliant though. I appreciate
yeah. And I thought, I mean, I was reading recently about this doctor who the doctors are very competitive, right? I mean, they compete with each other and they want to be like the ultimate guy. And this guy was writing about how he, being like a top doctor, needed to have a coach
it.
uh, because hey, if I fall into that space in which I know everything and nobody questions me on
Yep.
things, then I am not maybe performing the way that I'm supposed to, or I am missing something big. So the guy was, reflecting on that and thinking, I need to find another doctor that can actually be that, bouncing board that can tell me, hey, what do you think about this? Or, what are the things that you think I'm not doing?
Yeah.
Or here's a video of me performing this surgery. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing right here? You always need that. And
Dude.
yeah, I mean, even if you're a CEO, you probably need a coach too.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely. Oh, so true.
Right?
Oh, that's great. Okay, so tell me, as an employer, what are your biggest learnings as an employer?
Well, it's knowing how to manage people, uh, because that's a different art that is out there, right? They're
Yes.
human beings. They're not machines.
Yes, they are. Lots of variables.
Yeah, a lot of variables. They get sick, something is happening in the family, it's raining outside.
Mm.
A lot of things happening. So I think the art of listening and having empathy, uh, and leading people, right, by doing things such as listening and making sure that you are that the person feels safe and comfortable on what he or she is doing, and always staying close to those individuals in terms of what the vision is in the long term. I think that is something that I believe it helps. It may not be like the ultimate solution, but I think that you know, in my experience, connecting with people and not seeing them as machines, right?
Yes.
And following back on that idea in the beginning of building relationships,
Hmm.
I think that's a way for others to connect with what you're trying to do. And look, at the end of the day, we work with a lot of nonprofits. So people usually connect with something like that because there is a greater good, uh,
Yes.
yeah, behind it. So it may be different from for someone that is actually working in another industry. But in the space of nonprofits, I will say that if you like this, I I know that you are going to probably enjoy this and feel that you're doing something good, not only for yourself
Yes.
but for other people.
Yeah, that's great. That's brilliant. I mean, we know that, especially for the younger generation, the retention
Mhm.
of employees, one of the things they want is something, and this is a great thing, is that they
Yeah.
want to have a greater good that they're influencing. And so I love that you connect that to your employees. It's brilliant. It's really good.
There's got to be a purpose on everything that you do, right? And if there's no purpose, then probably you're missing a big component of where
Yes.
you want to go. So
Amen.
yeah, making sure that people stay on, identify that purpose and stay on purpose, I think is important.
That's great.
Mhm.
Okay, so owning a business, one of the big challenges is work-life balance. How
Right.
do you how do you how do you do that?
Yeah. So in the beginning, for me, it was work, 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 and then more work. And and frankly, I mean, when you are starting, you're wearing different hats
Hmm.
and trying to figure out your business. And depending on how big your toolkit is, that will take you months or it will take you years, right?
Hmm.
So
Yes.
if at some point I realized that the business is running, okay, so I don't have to be killing myself uh, to make this machine work.
Hmm.
And in fact, I learned this from a guy who a well-known muralist in the Houston area. He's a he's doing murals all over the world.
Wow.
And he was telling me, you know what? I hire someone to do the administrative stuff, the marketing stuff, and everything else. Because before I was doing that myself.
Hmm.
And then I realized that I was spending so much time doing the paperwork that it was taken away from my creativity, from my artistic skills.
Yeah.
So I learned, he was telling me, I learned to separate those completely. And I am the one that is going to build or create that mural that is massive, this warehouse wall outside of the
Yeah.
building. I'm going to
Yeah.
be painting a guy that is floating in the air or jumping in the water. That requires some peace and some moments in which you need to get creative, because if you fail with this, then you're out of the business, right?
Yeah.
So almost the same thing with me. I mean, I take breaks and I allow time for, you know what? I love running, for example.
Okay.
And if I have a chance to, just put a pause, like right after this interview, I may just decide, you know what? I have a gap of 40 an hour. I'm just gonna get on my tennis shoes and go running.
Nice.
And yeah, so because hey, I if I don't do it right now, I know that I'm not gonna have the time later on to do
Yes.
it. So might as well take that break because I need that gasoline for later, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I don't do that, then it doesn't happen. Another thing that helps me a lot is reading.
Oh,
And yeah, for some reason, reading takes me away from what I'm doing, and then it takes me to a different place. And if I'm reading something that uh, in a way is related to what I do, but I feel like I'm getting something very valuable. I mean,
yes.
I'm not talking about a novel about whales, and I'm talking about something related to what I do, and it just feels really good. It almost
Mm.
feels like after running around Memorial Park, for example,
Yeah.
uh, it may be hard to begin that run because I mean I'm feeling tired.
Yes.
I don't want to do this, but I have to do this. I need to take a break. So, but after completing that loop or that second loop, you feel much better. Almost the same things happens with after reading a book. I feel that helps me a lot. So taking those breaks and doing something completely different is what I feel it helps me in my
That's great.
particular case. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun when you get out, when you get perspective when you get further away from something too,
And
right?
and I and the thing is that I was telling this group of friends that are in this leadership program with me that if I go running, I need to see people. Okay. If I don't see anyone in the park, then I have a problem.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
interesting.
I have to see 3, 4, 10 guys over here, other people over there. I have to feel that, right? If
Wow.
that place is empty, then I'll probably just turn around, get back into my car because I need to see that, right? And
Yeah.
and 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 the whole thing about networking too, I need to go to an event in which I'm going to be talking to a lot of people.
Yeah.
If I go to an event or get engaged in our organization that only has like 3 or 4 people, I feel like okay, no, I need to talk to more people. I need to be surrounded
Mm.
by more folks. This is not working for me. So that needs to happen. When COVID uh,
Oh,
kind of ended,
yeah.
and I got back into the traditional networking, that felt like, oh my God, this, you know what?
I'm back.
Okay, yeah, I am back. And
Oh, great.
what was your name again? I forgot about you, man. It's been a couple of years. Okay, so here's my business card. And what are you doing now? And that was that was a transition moment in which I felt like, you know what, I've been sitting in this place isolated, and then
Yes.
now little by little getting back into what used to be it feels weird, but it feels good at the same time.
It
So
feels good. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, clearly you're a people person. So this last question is perfect. So
Mhm.
what qualities do you look for in employees to really foster a great work environment? What do you look for?
I I think this in a way this is related to what I was mentioning to you before. I mean, does that individual has a purpose in mind?
Yes. Great.
I mean, there's a lot of people with a lot of skills, but
Mhm.
if you perceive that there's no commitment on liking the things that you are going to be doing, then maybe that this is not the opportunity for you. I mean, this is not necessarily a mechanical job. I mean,
Yes.
this is a job in which you have to put your emotions and your feelings in place. And if this is not necessarily the thing that you like to do, then definitely this is not for you, right? I mean, this is not a manufacturing plant in
Yeah.
which you're going to be putting things on it, and no, yeah, that's this is not it. All right. So you have to be connected with what you're doing. And if that is not in place, then definitely this is not the opportunity for that individual, I think. So I try to be careful about that. And there has to be that immediate connection, right? If that
Mhm.
connection doesn't exist, then definitely look, I wish I had more time to be coaching and mentoring
Yeah.
individuals, but sometimes I need to run. So you have to have certain things that maybe they just need to be triggered, but in a way you know that they are there. You're not manifesting that, but I after talking to you, I realized that that thing that I'm looking for is in you.
Mm.
So let's try to work it out. And other people may just be very open and very honest and frank and say, yeah, this I like this, and you see that on people.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things that I focus on, making sure that people are connected with the things that they are going to be doing.
I love it. Hey, I really enjoyed our time together, and
So,
I learned some things, and
yeah.
I got some great insight from you on how you run your business and what's important to you. And so, thank you, Jose. This is a great time.
Hey, thank you so much for the opportunity, and more than open for future opportunities. I'm so glad that I had the chance to talk to you about my journey and how I deal with things in my business.